Welcome to 6th grade science. This is going to be a video that's going to go over all of the science safety tools in our classroom. You're going to want to pause it and fill in the worksheet that we give with you so that you are aware of all the safety equipment in the room. Our first stop on the tour is our safety panel. You can see one is on, it's the electric, the other one, the gas and water, is not on right now. The large red button on the left, that's a very important button. It is never to be pushed because it shuts down all of the electric for this entire hallway, but it is there in case there is a major emergency. Moving on, you're going to see a lot of the classroom as I move around. Doing this video as I'm getting set up for the school year. As I make my way across the room, I'm going over to this area. Here is our fire blanket. It is a special blanket stored in this large red tube. It is not to be used unless you are instructed to by myself or any other teacher in the classroom. This blanket is special. It's made of special fibers that will not burn when thrown onto a fire. Don't anticipate any kind of fires, but we have that for your safety. Everyone is always interested in this large shower and it's a funny looking sink. So it's two pieces. We have the large safety shower, which is just what the name is. If you had some type of chemical on you that needed to be washed off, you would stand in this area. This triangle here is what would be pulled by a teacher or administrator, and a lot of water would run out of it, and it runs for about 15 minutes straight with no break. This is not a toy. It is not something that you would pull. If you do purposefully, that is a referral to the office because it does flood the room. Here, underneath, is the eye wash station. This area would be used if you had something in your eyes, something sharp, sand, anything like that. We would also call the nurse right away. He would come in to help us with this. The caps cover the areas where water comes out, and the water also comes out from these holes around this area. If you had to use it, again, a teacher and or administrator or nurse would be helping. This paddle right here turns the eye wash station on. It is not a toy. Again, if you are over here and you start to play with it, you can end up in quite a bit of trouble. Again, this equipment is for your safety. There is the drain in the floor for the water. However, the water that comes out of this safety shower comes out very fast, and a lot of it, and it does flood the room. So again, it's for your safety. You're only to use it when a teacher is with you. Over here, we have our vent hood. I know we've got some posters stuck to it and some books stored in it. But if we were to use some sort of chemical that might give off a strong smell, a strong odor, we would use this vent hood basically to get the fumes to go up. Look inside, but we would use burn whatever we needed to inside this vent hood so the fumes would be directed out of the classroom. It's not something that we anticipate needing to use this year, but it is here. In the background, you can kind of see some of our storage in the back room. Part of our safety tour, this is our back supply room. It's off limits to students unless we specifically ask you to go in there, but we do have a lot of our equipment stored there. A very common safety item that most of you are familiar with is a fire extinguisher. There are instructions on the fire extinguisher. You You can see you would first pull a pin. You would need to stand obviously away from the fire. You would aim it at the bottom of the fire. You never use a fire extinguisher on the flames at the very top, and you would squeeze and sweep from side to side. The fire extinguisher would never be used by you alone. Again, these safety pieces would be used under the direction of myself or another teacher or administrator or nurse that is in the room. Alright, as we are walking along here, you're going to notice, of course, these are some of the computers that we have in the room. You can see all the different outlets we have different items plugged into. And you can see right next to them we have the sinks. We have to be very careful that if you are rinsing a beaker or some type of container out in the sink, that you don't splash the water right over onto the computer. It's electrical, it's plugged in, we need to be careful. The hose that is attached to this sink is there for a reason. These sinks are a little different than the ones you have at home. The hose helps to direct the water, of course, down into the sink instead of spraying everywhere. The hose is not a toy. Alright, we're going to continue on our little walking tour. As you know, we have two doors. This door here is the entrance to my classroom. You'll line up outside the wall. Thermostat, we don't touch that. That's controlled typically by the district, the temperatures. As I'm walking down the back of the classroom that you're going to be familiar with, coming up here to our goggle cabinet. We will use goggles a couple of times this year doing our chemistry labs. They are stored in here for obvious safety and to be out of the way. The goggles are not toys. When we do have them out, you will be instructed on how to put them on. They are sanitized, meaning they are cleaned in this cabinet between uses. And over here we have our exit door. You will learn more about on how to enter and exit my classroom. And that concludes kind of the tour of the classroom and the safety equipment. But before I completely conclude, I forgot. Everybody asks about my front table. And they ask about this curious sink. This sink is a little different. Water does come out of it. However, it does have an attachment or the capability of gas being attached to gas. We don't use that here in middle school, but that is what they put in when they constructed or built the school. Also for your safety, this is an area where we can plug things into. This is my front table. However, at this time this is broken. Please do not play with it. It's taped over for your protection. And that concludes our safety tour.